All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to part two. Sorry for the little bit of bear with us.
We're back in business.
Sir.
Yeah. All right.
So I know we left it off talking about this conversation that I think Collins you were talking about it with something that your sister shared with you. I heard shout out to Ray. Me and Walter went to college with him. He has his podcast called the Lunchroom Podcast. You guys should definitely check it out on Spotify, and it's on the YouTube channel called Down to Soul. Down to the SOLE. Down to the soul. So there's
Down to the soul.
spaces in between the words. So down to the SOLE. So yeah, I enjoyed the podcast. I was actually listening to the latest episode yesterday night. And so a couple episodes ago, they're also talking about this topic that we're about to bring up about the abolishing the billionaire system, or
abolishing billionaires. Well, so the thing is, right, the way I see it, right, in a capitalist system, the way somebody becomes a billionaire is by being the best at allocating resources, right, or being on top of the system at allocating resources. And so, like, if Jeff Bezos shouldn't have that money, then who should? That's the question I always have. Who should? Who will use it better?
All right, so let's get this out of the way. They ain't getting rid of no billionaires. That shit is over. This is a capitalist society, and also billionaires are worldwide. So that shit is over. Ain't no getting rid of billionaires. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you would have to like artificially do it, or like you would have to take their money from them by force. And I don't even know how I feel about that.
Because the thing
That's
is,
a bad idea.
Because the thing is, like I said with Jeff Bezos, contributing the service. So that millions make it, he might be a big part of the economy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's providing a service as much as, we might not like it, or, the business, or maybe he's not paying paying the employees enough. But it's just like, saying he started that business from the ground up. I was to this guy, I'll put you on to him, Kevin Samuels. So shout out to Kevin Samuels. He was talking about, you were doing the whole, how cutting your hair, or, if you want to work in corporate America, or a company, or for the white man, or the man, or whatever, Fortune 500 company, someone that started a business from the ground up, that made it into $1 billion business, thinks he's the so you have to play by his rules. He busted his ass to make that business. If you want to do your thing, you have to go out there and create your own business. You have to go out into the field and compete. You know what I'm saying? You can't complain about somebody else's.
It's not as simple. No, it's not as simple as that, because
of
again,
course.
these people had investors. These people had investors invested in their company, and with the billionaires, there is a lot of shadiness going on. So there is an understanding of what you call. There has to be like rules and regulations in order for the individuals and the companies to pay enough in their taxes. You shouldn't take their money away, but like they can't be paying like 2% in taxes, 13 billion. Then the average American is paying like 21%, whatever the percentage actually are. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree with that. Yeah,
that's also
crazy.
As a company, Amazon paid $0 in corporate tax. There's no way you should even be able to do that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but then so here's the thing, right? Like the aspect that a lot of people ignore is the aspect of philanthropy. Like when billionaires have money, right? I wouldn't say all of them. I don't actually know what percentage of billionaires are actual philanthropists, meaning that they use their money to promote goodwill within their country or within the world. But that's like, it's key whenever you're thinking about people that have money. They don't. It's not like they have money and just keep it somewhere locked up in a safe so that nobody can touch it.
I feel like a majority of people do that, because they had something a few years ago. It was called like the Panama Papers, and had a list of politicians, celebrities who were hiding money, that like untaxed money, and I forgot where it was. It wasn't Panama, but I don't know why they called it the Panama Papers. But If you look that up, it'll have that example.
Of people that were hiding money.
Yes.
So they would
And
take
this,
money out. They would take money out of the economy and then store it somewhere. To do what?
well, I don't know where the money, just so they couldn't get taxed. Just so money so this is like untaxed money. They're
Oh,
hiding
okay.
it in large amounts of.
Yeah, yeah, and there's people that move to Puerto Rico, for example, because Puerto Rican doesn't pay a lot of the taxes. That
Well, Puerto Rico is part of the United States, so I don't know how true that is.
it
I think
is.
you're talking
No,
about
no,
another
because
country.
they don't. The thing that's different about Puerto Rico is that it doesn't have any representation. So in the Constitution, there's no taxation without representation, right?
Well,
So
actually, that's not true because if you live in D.C., you'll get taxed. They don't have representative in D.C.
well, I don't know how it works, but I know for a fact that there are people who move to Puerto Rico for that specific reason, because of a lot of the taxes that in mainland United States they don't deal with that in Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, with respects to DC, I don't really know why or how that's possible. Maybe it's because it's the capital city that they have to get taxed, or you know.
I don't. I think just because they're American citizens, but like they have no representation. If you like look up DC license plate, a lot of them say no taxation without
Without
representation.
representation, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you know.
Like I know the guy, what's his name, Peter Schiff, right? Peter Schiff is one of the well, he has like, I don't know if it's his company or it's a company that he's working in collaboration with called Gold Money, and he's like a big time kind of investment banker, I guess, right? And he moved to Puerto Rico for that specific that exact reason, because he just felt like a lot of the taxation, and I think he mainly said like federal tax is too high, and he basically put it in the sense that like what does he say? He says, what right does the government have to take half of my money? And he basically says it that way. He says, why should I give half of my money to the government? And his whole grievance is the government has never been good at putting resources where those resources need to go, right? And the money is better in the hands of the people in the private sector, or at least in their state and local government, rather than in where it goes all the way up to Washington, and Washington doesn't really necessarily, it's not boots on the ground. It doesn't necessarily have, like, if you live in Wyoming, for example, Washington doesn't really have a pulse on what's going on in Wyoming. The people who are in Wyoming have that pulse, if that makes sense.
All right, 100%. But now I gotta ask you this question. You said that people pay all their taxes and nothing comes of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what about what do you think about all the people who suggest programs out there like the free college and stuff like that, where that money could be, but it always gets denied?
Free college?
Yeah, like I'm saying, you say like nothing gets out of it, but then people have proposals like free college and free healthcare, which could get paid by taxes, but people
but
always
college is so expensive.
Because they're making money from it.
Yeah.
They're making money from student loan debt.
Yeah. Yeah, college is so expensive. It's partly because of government subsidies.
Yeah, no, I was just playing devil's advocate. You said that we get nothing out of it, but people propose this stuff all the time and it never happens. Like where they want to use tax dollars to make these programs.
Mm-hmm. But why does it never happen?
Because
I was asking your thoughts on it. We could talk about that, but I was asking your thoughts about that.
Okay. Well, for me, the way I see it, right? Like in an ideal world for me, and I don't really know how this works because this is a hypothetical, right? College would be 100% in the private sector. In fact, most schooling would 100% be in the private sector. The reason why I say that is because competition is what creates fair pricing across the board, right? If you have this college over here competing with that college over there, and there's no state interference, it's just which one is the best, which one offers the best education for the fairest price, then you would have affordable college because you would need affordable college to attract students. That's not the case because of these government subsidies, really.
But that what you call it, that assumes that what you call it, the people are gonna do that. They might make it more expensive for more people to get in.
But
like,
they wouldn't be
if
able
you go,
to do. They
if,
wouldn't
if
be
you
able
go
to.
private,
They wouldn't be able to do that. They wouldn't be able to do that because
so you're saying have private college with government regulations.
no government regulate. I don't think government
You
should
think
be
there should be zero government regulations education?
in higher education. Yeah,
You don't think that would cause a problem? Because now the colleges could change their teaching into other things, political ideas, stuff like that. You don't think that's a bad idea?
that would be good.
Zero government regulation.
Zero government regulation in higher education.
I don't know.
Now,
I
if you're
don't.
talking about high school and middle school, then maybe there needs to be a little bit of government regulation. But once you graduated from those institutions and you get into college, you should be able to learn what it is you want to learn. And the colleges should be competing with one another for the best education for the best price.
But here's
And you
my
should
thing.
be able to write
Because
reviews the same way you write reviews about restaurants. You should be able to write reviews about the quality of education in certain colleges, and they would have to shape up or ship out.
100%. But those restaurants have regulations. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think you, and they're private too. They're not like publicly owned regulations. So I'm saying you have to have regulations. They're important because now you say zero government regulation.
I see what you mean by when you say government regulation. Then
Yeah, I don't
in
mean
that
like
case, then.
in the education part. I just meant just in general.
Yeah. Okay. So like restaurants have like the Department of Health show up,
Yeah,
pull up, and
yes, I'm
make
saying.
sure everything is sanitary and okay. So then I agree with that, right? But what I disagree with is that like how heavily the government is currently involved in college education. I think that's abhorrent, and that's the reason why they can charge so much money for higher
Well, it's
education.
also about what you call it. It also has to do actually consumerism too, because it has to do with the books that the college sends to you. These publications, they have to get paid. The what is it? These deans, they have to get paid. Like a lot of the payments for that are just for like the dean's salaries. Stuff. That has nothing to do with the government.
But the reason why the books are so expensive is because the syllabus is standardized, and so you need these books, 1 or 2 books that you need in this because the syllabus is standardized. If it wasn't so standardized, if the teacher could choose what books they teach with, for example, then the books would be cheaper.
Okay, but now are you going to trust that teacher to teach you the right things?
If they don't, then you go to a different teacher. That's what the competition is for.
It just sounds oversimplified to me. That's all I'm just saying.
Maybe. Look, I haven't seen this in practice.
Yeah.
But for me, it makes sense.
The only reason why I say that, when you have rest regulations, people tend to do the wrong things that hurt consumers. That's the only reason why I'm saying that.
Such as what?
Well, if you look at like let's say the last 2 decades, right? That recession that we had in 08, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we were all young during that time, but a lot of it was a lot of regulations before Bush had removed them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were doing shady stuff with it, like giving out loans they knew people couldn't repay and all this stuff like that. And they were intertwined with the different parts of the economy. Yeah. So if you look up on a documentary called The Inside Job, they'll explain how the whole regulation thing worked. So you had a lot of companies that were tying in mortgages to investments. And then the banks are giving mortgages out to people. And now these smaller banks started failing. Then these other people who are insuring them started to fail too. That's how we had the whole problem with the economy.
Well, okay, but here's one important variable in that 2008 economic recession. Certain banks were deemed by the government too big to fail. Right? If a bank isn't performing correctly, it should fail. It should fail, right? And in a free market, it would. But if the government gets involved and it subsidizes certain banks, then they don't fail until it's too late.
No, but the
Right?
reason why they were too
They're propped up by government funding, not because the private sector ran amok. It's because of government funding.
no, it was because the private sector ran them out.
Explain that.
Like I said, they were giving out. So I don't like have all the information, so I can't. What you call it? Tell you, but I'll give you like 2 examples of people, government.
Because how can a bank give? How is a bank comfortable giving out a loan that they know the person who they're giving it to can't pay back? It's because they know that that money is insured. How is that money insured? It's insured by the government.
No, it wasn't insured by the government.
No, if it wasn't insured by the government, then the bank, say the small banks, right? The bank would have to think twice before it just gives out money, because it knows it would have to.
You know why they did it? They did it because there was a company called AIG. They're a private company. They were insuring a lot of these banks and investments. But then they failed. They didn't think AIG would fail because AIG didn't think the banks would fail. They never had the money to insure them at all. So that's one of the big things I felt. But also, if you look at them, there's a company called Enron, right?
Enron, yeah.
They were making up fake stats and stuff like that, telling their company employees to keep investing in the stocks while the people higher up were selling their stocks, knowing the company was going down. Then they switched to energy. And then one of the stuff they were doing, right, they went to California, so they switched to energy. I think they were like an oil company with that. So they started turning off people's lights, like this whole blocks of people's lights in California, just because so they can sell higher stocks and stuff like that. So that's what I'm talking about. When you talk about some of the regulation stuff, they're needed. If you let people in the private sector do this stuff, they're gonna run amok. People are more green.
Some, I mean, I'm willing to concede that some regulation is fine, but we're in a situation where we have too much regulation. So I would say less regulation, not no regulation, but definitely less.
But how less? Because the last time we had less, they brought us a recession.
No, we had more government regulation. I've already explained that, like
under George Bush.
Well, you say under George Bush. You know, there's this myth, right, that the Republican Party functions in the way that its ideals says that it should function. All right, we don't live in a free market capitalist society. We didn't live in a free market capitalist society in 2008, right? But that was the narrative. That was the narrative, that there was less government regulations under George W. Bush. There wasn't.
Yeah, there was. Financial regulations? Yeah, there was. I could post some videos where I got the information from for you, but there definitely was less financial regulations.
All right, yeah, I would like to see them.
I'll send them to you.
Yeah, so this whole abolishing the billionaire system in an economy where so this is a capitalist economy, so that's tough. And I know y'all ain't trying to go to communism.
Nah.
No.
But they're never gonna abolish no billionaires. Like that's over.
That's nuts. I mean, how do you even go about doing
I wouldn't say abolish, but maybe make I guess I'll just say Joe Palm because like Marlboro, like maybe forcing them to after you pay higher in taxes, or forcing them to distribute money. Maybe people who are.
How do you force them to distribute money?
You have the thing is you have to let people give charitably, and they usually do. The rich give a lot, all right, and people don't acknowledge that. They don't acknowledge that. They have these foundations and they give a lot. They do. So
well, some of those foundations are shaky. Some do, some don't. Some write them off on their taxes. So I don't think like philanthropy is like the way to get them to give less of the money, because whether they're doing it
Yeah, but
truthfully,
the fact that philanthropy is a tax write-off is a good incentive for more
no, I agree.
philanthropy.
I'm not saying get rid of it. I'm saying whether they want to give it from their heart or not, they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna give their money away for
Mm-hmm.
philanthropy. So that's not really like a way to get them to give their money away. But the
Mm-hmm.
idea shouldn't be let's cancel billionaires.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Let's
that's
find
too
a way to make more
simplistic.
people. Let's
That's
find a way
it.
to make the regular person higher up. So if you was in low class, let's see if we can move you up to middle class. If you was in middle class, let's see if we can move you up to a higher class.
Listen, man, it's always good to count other people's pocket until you have that money. Then it's
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like, I think it's just like improper information, or just because, like, I used to think that way as well, because I'm like, damn, how is it that there's such a high poverty rate and there's so many people making obscene amounts of money? That really is a problem, right? That really is a problem, and it's 100% something that we should look at as a society. I just don't think that the way to do that is to have the government force these guys to part with their money in that way. They should incentivize giving. They should incentivize philanthropy and wealth redistribution in some way. But the way that people suggest is almost like stealing, really, because these guys earn their money fair and square, right? So
Yeah.
in order to abolish billionaires, you'd have to steal from them, and that doesn't
Yeah.
sit right with me either.
And John had mentioned it before a little bit. He caught, but I don't know if people caught it. But he said that if these people give their money away, what you call it, would it hurt the economy? And depending on how
Mm-hmm.
people want to do it, it can. So if I seen some people say Jeff Bezos to sell all his stocks, that would tank the whole stock market. If he sold all his stocks, people would think like, yo, what does he know? Something's happening. They're gonna
Mm-hmm.
panic. Then they're gonna sell all their stocks. Then the value of Amazon's gonna go down. Then other people gonna sell their stock because they thinking, oh, something's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So you really can't just say, yo, take
Oh,
their
you
money
should
or
sell.
give it away. Like that's not a good way
Yeah,
to solve wealth inequality.
yeah, and like stocks, you want people to have stocks. You want them to, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what causes the companies and the economy to grow. The idea that, like, oh, because somebody, and here's the thing, right? Like the myth about capitalism is that just because somebody has money, it's like it's a zero-sum game, right? The reason why you don't have money is because somebody else has too much, right?
Yeah,
And it's that thinking. It's short-sighted. The real thing that we should be thinking about is how to get more opportunities to the people in the low income groups. How do we give them more opportunities? How do we fix those communities? How do we go in there and uh, create resources, build, good educational centers? How do
yes,
we do that?
yeah,
Right.
changing the mindset, the
Yeah.
mindset, because everybody that is in the one person, they have a certain mindset. They see money a different way than people that
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying, are quote unquote broke or in the middle class. Because also,
Mm-hmm.
like obviously, maybe I guess yeah, it has to do with conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, bro. There's just so many aspects that goes into things, and I think about, I'm just like, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, there's
yeah.
a
So I
lot of
think
aspects, and like there's also part of it that has to do with our privilege, right? We're kind of privileged to have the opportunity to even be thinking this way. You know what I mean? When you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? There are people whose their only concern is how to get their next meal, and that's the most important, the most pressing matter in their lives, right? They can't be thinking about capitalism. They can't be thinking about the free market. They don't have the luxury. We do, right? And that shouldn't be discounted. But the thing that I disagree with is, yes, one, we should have equality of opportunity, but we're not entitled to equality of outcomes. you know, like just because there could be two people that have had exactly the same upbringing, the same exact education. You know, Jeff Bezos had classmates. Are they all rich?
Nope. Because that's the most important thing too. It has to start with the mindset. Because
Yeah.
oh yeah, Josh, welcome for joining us. Yo, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm feeling good today. We might have to do 3 parts.
I don't know if I could do 3 parts. I have to dip out after part 2.
No. I mean, we're gonna see. I'm just gassed, but yeah. So yeah,
But
Josh, thanks for joining
hey,
us.
look, you guys can continue. It doesn't really matter to me. You guys can continue.
Yeah. So I don't know. This is like the most important thing is the mindset shift. Like everybody that's in that 1% where you want to get to, use money a certain way. Like they value it, they cherish that with their life. Like every penny to the dollar, they're always tracking it. They're always like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like they're always like trying to be minimalist. And even
Yeah.
if, you know what I'm saying,
Well,
I
no,
mean,
when you look at
oh, I'm
when you
sorry.
look at these companies, now when you look at these companies, Amazon, it's not that they just what you call it, they save money, so they use other people's money too. Like a lot of these companies, they have big investors that come in and give them money. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
every day in Silicon Valley, there's a new company that's being bought or invested in, like hundreds of $millions at a time.
yeah, and yeah, Apple, for example, they use a lot of borrowed money, but also you need a certain level of, you know, it ties into like credit and things like that. You need a certain level of credit to even be able to do that.
100%, you need the credit and the money together. You have good credit, but if you only have like 60,000 in the bank, no one's gonna give you 100 million.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, it's a lot of things. There's money, credit, influence, who you know. It's a lot of things.
Yo, you definitely you have to send me that stuff because I have to see it because maybe I don't know enough about it. But from what I've seen, you have to send me the like about the
Yeah.
whole
I'm not
2008.
saying that, what you call it. We need all regulations. Like there has to be a balance, though. You know what I'm saying? Because people argue one side or the other. I say you need just like a balance of like a basic layer so people don't go off crazy. Because even like in the investing thing, a lot of investors have gotten scammed. So for example, I seen yesterday I was watching a video on the story of Twitter, and actually the person named Jack Dorsey right now, he's not the guy who created Twitter by himself. It was another guy. And then them two basically fired him from the company because it was part of another company. So this other guy owned the company, and then he owned the other company. Then he told the investors like, "Yo, man, this one company that isn't going anywhere, and Twitter might be nice, but I don't really know." But he kind of fooled them to think it wasn't going to be a big thing, and bought all the shares to the Twitter before even what you call it, like all the ownership of Twitter before it became a public company like that. And then they kicked the other guy out and made Jack Dorsey the president of Twitter, and now it's $1 billion company. You know what I'm saying? So it's just shit like that where it's like, we need these type of regulations so something doesn't happen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I wouldn't say that there needs. Is for me the main thing is subsidies. How government subsidies work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where the government can just go in and decide, actually, you know what? Oh, this bank is failing. We're going to step in and we're going to give them a whole bunch of money so that they can stay afloat. I just believe that, like, if your business doesn't function as well as it should, you should go out of business. You shouldn't, nobody should save you. Nobody should give you a lifeline. You know, you should go out of business
Yeah,
because
but
it's not functioning well as a business.
the thing was with these banks, all these other companies that got money, the problem was they were too intertwined into the economy that if it failed, it would have been like a bad thing. You know what I'm saying?
If it failed, it wouldn't have been a bad thing, or it would have.
No, it would have been a bad thing. It would have been worse.
I mean, it ended up being a bad thing anyway.
Yeah, but I'm saying it would have been worse. That's what I'm saying. Because
It
they
wouldn't
didn't get that money. No, these companies were too intertwined into each other and the whole global economy, not just our economy. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
we're in a global economy, so it would have been like a very bad thing at that time.
But I mean, is that because there's been a history of the government subsidizing them and they've stayed afloat and they've gotten to this point where they are a big part of the global economy, or is it just because, I mean, what's the moving piece?
Just that what you call a lot of the investments are tangled into each other. So like this bank is tangled with that bank is tangled with this insurance firm. This firm is tied to the what you call the housing market. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
so the first part of the thing that fell was the housing market, and then the loans that were attached to those mortgages, they started failing. So they went to their insurance, but the insurance never had the money because they didn't think the bank would fail.
Mm.
You know that's what
But
I
you see,
meant.
there were
So
some
like,
people that foresaw this happening, though, right? There were investors that saw this happening, and basically, the idea was, like the housing market was undergoing an unnatural boom, right?
yeah,
It was a huge bubble,
no, there
right?
are people who did see that, but they were always ignored. That's what always happens. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like, if this, I mean, because these, like these banks and institutions, they have economists that work there. There are people who are intelligent, well-learned people that work there. So like, how is it that there's so many people who this caught by surprise in 2008?
Well, because these people, what you call it, were always ignored. So they were working with in some of these companies or not, and what you call it, they were always ignored or fired or something happened where they just ignored until it was too late, basically.
Until it was too big.
Yeah, and also the Federal Reserve had a lot to do with what's happening around that time between like right after Clinton from until like 2008 when Bush came in, all that stuff. So it wasn't just like it was a lot of people like bad investors doing things at individual levels and then at corporate levels. But I've watched a lot of different videos, and that during that time period, it seems like there was just a lot of greed in corporate America going on.
Yeah,
I just care for anybody.
I just want to warn you guys, we're about to head to the 5-minute mark. Hey, Walter and Josh, do you guys want to continue? I know, Collins, you have to head out soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, my fault, bro. I know it was a bit late. I just got back to the crib and shit like that. I tried to catch the ending at least, but it's up to y'all. It's whatever y'all want to do.
No, yeah. We could do a part 3 because part 3 we're gonna be getting into like basketball and music and stuff like that. So you came at the right time. Yeah, Collins, I know you got to head out soon. So yeah, so we have like 5 minutes.
I do want to hear. I do want to hear part 3 though. As soon as you put this out, I'm gonna definitely listen to it.
Yeah, that's right. We gotta get this right, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, 1 episode at a time or 3 episodes at a time. It don't matter, man. We're gonna get this platform going, man. We're businessmen now, so you know what I'm saying? So listen, man. I've been watching a lot of One Piece. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's my favorite anime. If you want to know, Collins, Walter and Josh already know what time it is. But the main premise is you know, of the main character, just showing that though the main character is strong and you know he's very resilient and he's willing to, you know, push things forward. He knows his strengths and weaknesses and knows how important a friend group and having people that can support him and remind me. That's I kind of I feel like I'm Luffy sometimes, you know. I'm always willing to jump and, you know, start things, but obviously you guys always remind me of the, you know, things that have to go into place and of the mistakes that I make. So you guys have been a great help. And you know, having this platform, you know, obviously with the Wealth Builders thing that we're doing, so you know, I wouldn't say like I rely on you, but you know, obviously, you know, I can depend on you guys if I'm over on some BS, like, hey, you know what I'm saying, just consider this and that. So you know what I'm saying, I don't know, man. One Piece is just I don't know. So One Piece is just so relatable to like the world. It's just crazy, bro. I mean, obviously Walter and Josh can attest to that because they know what time it is, but it's just crazy. That's why it's my favorite anime. It's like it's just the bigger picture and the world building.
I might have to get on that. I don't really watch too much anime, but
yeah. No, it's gonna be a journey, bro. But it's a journey that's worth it. It's 900 episodes and the anime is still going. Like, well,
I was about to say, if you haven't watched anime, do not start with One Piece. If you have not watched anime, do not start with One Piece.
Okay, all right. Say no more.
It's too long to start with.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay.
It's not even over. It's not even over.
Damn.
That's how good it is.
Sheesh. So you guys have watched 900 episodes of One Piece?
Damn
No,
right.
I haven't. I haven't finished it. Like,
Faithfully.
I'm
Faithfully.
nowhere to finish.
Wow, dude.
No joke, bro. Like, cause you have to understand. Like, I was on the outside looking in. Like, it was actually Walter actually put me on first, but I wasn't listening to Walter because I wasn't ready at that time.
Mm.
I wasn't worthy.
Mm.
I have no regrets of starting this late because, bro, there's certain arcs that I couldn't wait week to week for. I'm gonna just say that. But it's just like it may seem dumb at first. It may seem silly, or if like you're not used to watching. But like once you get the bigger picture of things, it's just like nah.
Well, could you start in the middle?
Oh no. You got to start
Can't
from
find
episode 1. Yeah,
Oh,
you got to start
shit.
from episode. Because me, I started in the
Oh,
middle, and
shit.
that's how I got hooked.
Oh
But
shit,
but you're not supposed to start in the middle. Yeah, you got to start from episode 1. No cheating, sir.
man. No cheating, sir. Okay, I won't cheat. I'm just not gonna watch it. I'm just not gonna. I can't watch 900 episodes of anything. It's a lot, even
Right.
stuff that I like.
It is a lot, but I don't know, man. I just
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, man. It's just I don't know. Like it's like here's one thing to me. Like it's like it's starting to set in. Like things are really gonna like change. Really like post Corona. Like obviously, like what I'm saying. Like my lifestyle really hasn't changed because like I haven't like like I told you like I was telling Collins and Walter in the earlier stream Josh that like I've been basically living this type of life or this quarantine life since like 2018. So like it's just regular for me, but like now I'm starting to realize like how it's gonna affect things, like what I'm saying, music artists, basketball, football is dead. There ain't no football this season. There's too many players. You go on quarantine. That's 100 people.
Well, are they not doing the what is it? The thing the basketball's doing?
No,
With
yeah, because
the
basketball is like
bubble?
15 to a roster. Like yeah,
With the
basketball.
bubble and shit?
Yeah,
Yo,
basketball
this
don't
is
have
the
to be all year
NFL we're
round.
talking about.
Yeah.
The NFL are going to try to play football with fans in the stadium. This is the NFL we talking about, man.
With fans?
If it's one person that would try this, it's the NFL.
Yeah,
Okay.
NFL stands for not freaking logical.
Like,
That's brilliant. Oh man. Not freaking logical. Anyway, guys.
The best acronym for the NFL was definitely Chris Fox. Nigga fucking Lars.
Oh my god.
That was the greatest.
Oh my god.
Oh man, yeah,
Anyway,
we're about to end this. So, ladies and
yeah,
gentlemen,
let's
hey,
go.
Collins, thank you for joining us for part 2 and part 1. Yeah, so we're about to head over to part 3. There's supposed to be 2 parts,
Alright.
but oh well, more content for your head tops.
Oh yeah, for your head tops. All right, guys. You guys take care. All right.
all right.
Peace.
All right, bro.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, so Walter and Josh just wait on for the email. So I'm gonna send you those.
Got it.
Yeah, some outro music. Do 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 do.